The orbital scrapyard of Vela Prime hung above a dim red star. From orbit, it looked like a belt of junk circling the dying sun, a place where the dreams of civilizations went to rest. Here were ships once proud, fleets once feared, vessels that had sailed across the galaxy in glory. Now they floated like bones, waiting to be picked apart by scavengers. Every month, traders, mercenaries, and opportunists came to Vela Prime for the scrap auction. It was a grim event, but it always drew a crowd. Someone's broken weapon could become another's fortune. Someone's discarded cruiser might serve as a pirate's tool. The scrapyard managers knew how to make profit from despair. On this day, the auction hall buzzed with noise. Dozens of species filled the steel platforms that overlooked the docking bays. Alien voices chattered in their own tongues, mixed with the hum of translation devices. Bright holograms displayed each ship that came up for sale. The auctioneer, a four-armed reptilian named Grevik, raised his voice. Next lot. Lot 32. A vessel of curious origin. His tone carried amusement, the kind of amusement that told the crowd this was not a prize but a joke. The hologram shifted to reveal a massive silhouette. It was long and sharp, with blackened hull plates and scars that looked like claw marks across its surface. The name appeared in alien glyphs, then translated Eidolon. A murmur spread through the crowd. Some laughed. Some hissed. Others crossed their arms in disapproval. The Eidolon, Grevik continued, a relic of the Zarin Dominion, a warship feared 3 centuries ago, but as you see it is nothing now. Broken, dead, no crew, no records, just an empty shell. The audience was unimpressed. Several alien captains turned away. A bulky merchant spat on the floor. A group of scavenger twins whispered to each other and shook their heads. One alien, tall and insectoid, raised a limb. The ship is cursed. Everyone knows it. The last crew vanished without a trace. Even scavengers who entered did not return. Grevik chuckled. A good story, yes. But curse or no curse, it is still for sale. Starting bid, 200 credits. The room fell silent. Not one hand rose. For long moments, only the hum of machines filled the hall. The auctioneer scratched his chin, trying not to look irritated. Come now, 200 credits for a warship hull. Stripped, it is worth 5 times that in alloys alone. Still nothing. The silence became heavier. Everyone knew the tales. The Eidolon's weapons never fired again. Its engines never reignited. Its AI system rejected all attempts to wake it. Some said the ship whispered to intruders before killing them. Others claimed it was waiting for its masters to return from extinction. Whatever the truth, no one wanted it until a voice finally spoke. I'll take it. Heads turned. At the back of the hall stood a human. Young, lean, his clothes worn from work and grease stains. His name was Marcus Hale, a mechanic from one of the fringe colonies. He didn't look like much. His boots were patched. His toolkit was old. His eyes, though, were sharp, scanning the hologram of the ship with hunger and curiosity. Grevik blinked. You human? Did you not hear the stories? I heard them, Marcus said calmly. But a story doesn't scare me. 200 credits, right? That's my bid. The crowd burst into laughter. Some aliens slapped their knees. Others muttered about reckless humans. Foolish species, a scaled merchant hissed. They think they can fix anything. Grevik raised 2 of his 4 hands. Very well. If no other bids, he looked around, but the silence confirmed it. Sold. Lot 32, the Eidolon, goes to Marcus Hale of, wherever you are from. The hall filled with mocking cheers and laughter. Marcus ignored them. He signed the data slate, transferred the credits, and walked out without looking back. The docking bay smelled of rust and ozone. Marcus stood before the ship, dwarfed by its massive shadow. The Eidolon loomed like a beast chained in slumber, its black hull scarred, its weapons melted, its engines cold. The ship was easily twice the size of a modern battleship, yet it carried an elegance lost in today's designs. Most would see only ruin. Marcus saw something else. He saw possibility. He laid a hand on the cracked hull. The metal was cold, but beneath it he felt something. A faint vibration, as if the ship still breathed, weak but alive. Hello there, he whispered. Looks like everyone gave up on you. Guess it's just you and me now. The ship said nothing, of course, but Marcus swore the hull pulsed once under his palm, almost like acknowledgement. He climbed the docking ramp, which groaned under his weight. The entrance was unpowered, forcing him to pry it open with his tools. Inside, darkness swallowed him. His flashlight beam cut through dust and twisted wires. The corridors were wide, built for a species taller than humans with walls lined in alien glyphs. The silence was thick. Each step echoed too loudly. Marcus made his way to what he guessed was the control chamber. It took him hours following broken signs and guessing which way led deeper. Finally, he entered a vast room filled with dead consoles and a cracked view screen. "This must be the bridge," he muttered. He set down his pack and pulled out portable power cells. Connecting them to one console, he tried a jump start. Sparks flew. For a moment, nothing. Then a faint hum stirred, weak lights flickering to life. The screen lit with alien symbols. They scrolled rapidly, then froze. A voice, cold and broken, echoed through the chamber. Unrecognized. Entity detected. Marcus froze. His heart hammered. The ship's AI was still alive. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said, speaking slowly. "I'm a mechanic. My name's Marcus Hale. I bought this ship." The voice crackled, fragmented. "Unauthorized. Intruder. Removal. Required." Panels on the wall sparked as if weapons were trying to activate, but they failed. Systems were too broken. Marcus raised his hands. "Easy. Look, I know you don't trust me. Nobody does. But I see something in you. You're not dead. You're just broken. Let me help you." The AI hissed static. For a long moment, silence hung. Then, "System. Damaged. Core offline. Intruder. Will fail." Marcus smiled faintly. "Maybe, but I don't quit easy. You'll see." He stayed on the bridge until the artificial night cycle of the station began. He mapped damaged circuits, checked what systems still had power, and made lists in his old notepad. Engines dead. Weapons ruined. Life support partial. AI core fractured. It was a hopeless mess. Yet Marcus felt more alive than he had in years. The next day, workers in the scrapyard watched in disbelief as Marcus hauled crates of spare parts onto the Eidolon. "Waste of time," muttered a scavenger. "He'll be dead in a week," said another. But Marcus ignored them. Day after day he worked. He slept inside the ship, ate in the silent corridors, and spoke aloud to the AI even when it didn't answer. "Engines are going to need a miracle," he told it one evening. But miracles happen, right? Sometimes the ship hummed faintly in reply. One night as he repaired a power relay, he heard the AI's broken voice again. "Why, try?" it asked. Marcus looked up, surprised. "Because I don't like seeing something abandoned. You were built for greatness. I can't stand seeing that wasted. Failure? Inevitable," the AI rasped. Marcus wiped sweat from his forehead. "Maybe, but I'd rather fail trying than walk away." For the first time, the hum of the ship seemed softer, almost thoughtful. Weeks passed. Bit by bit, lights returned to the corridors. The air became cleaner. The engines groaned like waking giants. Marcus spent every credit he had on parts, traded favors, and even scavenged trash piles to find what he needed. The scrapyard mocked him less now. Some watched in uneasy silence. One evening, after endless hours, Marcus connected a rebuilt power regulator to the main core. He held his breath and flipped the switch. The ship roared. Engines rumbled through the hull. Lights flared across the bridge. The floor shook as ancient systems reawakened. The AI's voice boomed, still distorted but stronger. "Power restored. Systems awakening." Marcus grinned, his chest tight with joy. "Told you I could do it." The ship's hum was no longer hostile. It was almost proud. From the scrapyard's control towers, aliens stared in shock as the once dead Eidolon lit up like a star reborn. The cursed ship had stirred, and Marcus Hale was the one who woke it. The Eidolon was awake again, but only in fragments. Its engines groaned like a wounded beast. Its lights flickered unevenly, and its AI voice still crackled like a broken radio. Yet compared to the silent tomb it had been for centuries, the ship felt alive. Marcus Hale leaned against a railing on the bridge, sweat dripping down his face. His arms ached from weeks of repairs, but his grin was wide. "We're getting somewhere," he said to the air. "Slow but steady." The ship answered with a low hum through the walls. Not quite words, but it was something. Marcus had grown used to the ship's half-responses. He spoke to it often, as if it were a stubborn partner who needed encouragement. At first, the AI had only threatened him or dismissed his efforts. Now it sometimes asked short, broken questions. He saw progress in that. The scrapyard community, however, thought differently. From the windows of nearby docking bays, scavengers and traders watched him haul crates of scrap inside. They saw him crawl out of vents with soot on his face, dragging wires longer than his body. They saw lights flicker inside the cursed warship and shook their heads. "He's insane," muttered one. "A human thing," said another. "They think everything can be fixed with stubbornness." Some even placed bets on how long Marcus would last before the ship either killed him or collapsed on itself. Marcus ignored them all. Every day was a routine. He woke up in a sleeping bag on the bridge, boiled instant food on a small burner, then spent hours crawling through corridors filled with dead machinery. He mapped the ship's systems by hand, marking pathways with chalk so he wouldn't get lost. And always, he talked to the ship. "Your starboard engines are nearly ready. Once I get the fuel lines cleared, you'll roar again. Your targeting systems are shot, but I'll make them work with human tech. Might be ugly, but ugly works," the AI would sometimes reply. "Engines. Weak." "I know," Marcus said, twisting a wrench. "But weak is better than dead. Targeting. Human systems. Incompatible." "Then I'll teach you to understand them," Marcus replied. Slowly, the AI's tone shifted. It no longer called him intruder. Sometimes it called him engineer. And once, late at night, it called him partner. Marcus had paused at that, smiling faintly. "Yeah, partner works." Despite progress, challenges came daily. The ship's architecture was alien, unlike any system Marcus had studied. Its wires pulsed with strange energy. Its circuits reacted almost like living tissue. Sometimes, when Marcus connected his tools, the ship responded with unexpected surges as if rejecting foreign touch. One evening, while repairing a conduit, sparks erupted. Marcus was thrown back, slamming into a wall. His flashlight shattered. For a moment, he lay in darkness, coughing. The ship's voice came through the shadows. "Engineer?" "Damaged?" Marcus groaned, sitting up. "Just bruised." He rubbed his shoulder. "Don't fry me next time, okay? I'm on your side." There was a pause. Then faintly, "Apologies." Marcus blinked in surprise. The AI had never apologized before, see? "You're learning," he said with a grin. "We're both stubborn, huh?" As weeks turned into months, the bond deepened. Marcus began to sense the ship's moods and the vibrations of its hull. When he worked on the engines, the hum grew eager as if the ship longed to fly again. When he left repairs unfinished, the halls felt restless, buzzing faintly until he returned. He spoke to the ship at night when sleep was slow to come. "Everyone else gave up on you," he whispered once. "They called you cursed, worthless. But I know how that feels. People looked at me the same way back home. Just a broke mechanic fixing junk no one wanted." The ship's lights glowed faintly around him, like a quiet acknowledgement. "You and me," Marcus said softly. "We're the same, abandoned, rejected, but we're not finished yet." The scrapyard soon noticed real changes. The Eidolon's outer hull glimmered with restored lights. Its engines, though not yet ready to fly, emitted low rumbles that shook nearby bays. Even its weapons turrets, once frozen in rust, began to shift slightly under Marcus's repairs. Fear crept into the scrapyard community. "What if he really brings it back?" a scavenger whispered. "He'll unleash disaster," another said. "That ship is not meant for humans." Whispers turned into threats. Marcus returned to his dock one evening to find graffiti smeared on the hull. "Leave it dead." Tools had been stolen, crates overturned. Marcus clenched his jaw. He cleaned the paint, replaced what was broken, and worked harder. On the bridge, the AI spoke. "Enemies. Outside." "Yeah," Marcus said, tightening a bolt. "But they don't matter. Not compared to what we're building." One night, sabotage nearly killed him. A group of scavengers cut the external power feeds, hoping to leave him trapped in the dark. Marcus stumbled through corridors when the lights died. His flashlight flickered. For the first time, the ship's voice came urgently. "Danger. Stay. I will guide." Marcus froze. "Guide me? How?" The walls lit faintly, tiny strips glowing like stars. They formed a path through the corridor. Marcus followed, heart racing. "Left," the AI whispered. "Now, right." Step by step, it led him back to the bridge where emergency power still hummed. Breathing hard, Marcus sat down. "You saved me." "Partner," the AI said simply. Marcus laughed shakily. "Guess we really are in this together." As their trust grew, so did the ship's abilities. Marcus patched weapon systems with scavenged parts. He replaced missing circuits with human designs, teaching the AI to adapt. At first, the ship rejected them, declaring, "Incompatible," Marcus insisted. So was I once. Wrong place, wrong skills. But I learned. So can you. Gradually, the ship accepted human additions. Its AI grew less broken, words clearer. You adapt, it said one day. That's what humans do, Marcus replied. Finally came the moment Marcus had worked toward for months. The engines were ready for a full test. On the scrapyard control deck, workers gathered nervously, whispering. No one had seen the cursed ship move in centuries. Inside, Marcus sat on the bridge, hands trembling on the controls. All right, partner. Let's see if you can still roar. Engines, primed. The AI answered, its voice steadier than ever. Marcus grinned. Then let's wake the galaxy. He pushed the controls forward. The Eidolon shuddered. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the engines ignited with a thunderous boom. The entire scrapyard shook as fire erupted from the rear thrusters. The black warship trembled, then steadied, glowing like a star reborn. Outside, aliens shouted in alarm. Some fled their stations. Others simply stared in awe. On the bridge, Marcus laughed, tears in his eyes. You did it! We did it! The AI's voice came, stronger than ever. We, live! The sound echoed through the ship like a promise. And in that moment, Marcus knew the Eidolon was no longer just a machine. It was his partner, his ally, his friend. But as the scrapyard trembled with the ship's awakening, distant eyes across the galaxy began to notice. Whispers traveled through trade routes and military channels. The cursed warship was alive again, and some swore the galaxy would never be the same. The awakening of the Eidolon did not go unnoticed. Word of the black warship, once abandoned and feared extinct, spread faster than Marcus could have imagined. Hollow messages and encrypted transmissions from the scrapyard reached distant colonies, military stations, and pirate enclaves. Across the galaxy, whispers circulated. A human mechanic had resurrected a ship that no species dared touch. Some were curious. Some were afraid. Many were envious. On the orbital observation decks of the Ziran trade hub, officials watched incoming reports with disbelief. Is this real? Demanded Admiral Threx, a stern reptilian with scales the color of molten copper. He pointed at a hologram showing the Eidolon's engines glowing bright in orbit. Yes, Admiral, said a young analyst. SATCOM feeds confirm it. The ship is active, and the pilot a human. Marcus Hale. Admiral Threx's eyes narrowed. A human? The species was never meant for such power. How? Impossible to say, the analyst interrupted. But they've repaired weapons, systems, even the AI. It's functioning better than predicted. Threx clenched his claws. We cannot allow this. Send a reconnaissance fleet. Find this human. Assess the threat. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, pirate lords whispered in shadowed dens, their many arms drumming on tables. The Eidolon lives again, hissed one. The human dares wake it. I say we strike first. Take it before he can make it a weapon. No, said another, her eyes glinting in dim light. We should watch. Let him make mistakes. Let him learn to trust himself. Then we will take him unprepared. Back in the scrapyard, Marcus was oblivious to most of this. He focused on the Eidolon, walking through corridors, checking engines, inspecting weapon systems. The ship had grown stronger, its hum a steady heartbeat under his hands. You feel different, he said aloud as he ran diagnostics. Stronger, more aware. Can you feel it too? The AI responded in its clearer voice. Power. More stable. Systems. Respond faster. Recognition of you grows, Marcus smiled faintly. Good, that's what we need. Soon we'll be ready for anything. The first sign of trouble came unexpectedly. While testing the weapons in low orbit, a fleet of pirate frigates appeared on sensors. They were small, fast, but heavily armed. Looks like we have company, Marcus said, leaning over the console. What do you think, partner? Engage in defensive protocols? The AI suggested. Marcus nodded. We'll do more than defend. Let's show them why humans don't give up. He guided the ship out of the scrapyard bay and into open space. The Eidolon's engines roared, propelling it with surprising speed. Sensors scanned the pirate vessels. Their weapons were old but numerous, and they coordinated their attacks well. Stay calm, Marcus muttered. We've got this. Trust me. The first exchange was chaotic. The pirates fired plasma bolts, but the Eidolon's shields held. Marcus improvised, rerouting power to reinforce weak points. He had learned to think like the AI, predicting system behavior based on vibrations and light signals. Target the lead ship, he said. AI, can you handle rerouting the turrets? Turrets online. Targeting. The turrets hummed, then fired. Bolts of energy cut through space, tearing through the lead frigate's hull. Marcus grinned. Nice shot. The other pirates hesitated, unprepared for the coordination between human and ship. For the first time, they realized this was no ordinary pilot. Hours passed in tense battle. The pirates adapted, but Marcus adapted faster. He used unusual maneuvers, diving the ship at impossible angles, then launching counterattacks. The Eidolon's AI had learned to anticipate his decisions almost like a dance. Together, they were synchronizing instinctively, combining human creativity and alien technology. By the end of the skirmish, 3 pirate ships lay in drifting wreckage, the rest retreating into the shadows. Marcus leaned back in his chair, breathing hard. That wasn't bad for a first test, huh? The AI's lights glowed brighter than usual. Efficiency. Increasing. Coordination. Exceptional, Marcus chuckled. We make a good team. The victory, however, had consequences. News of the Eidolon's combat effectiveness spread rapidly. Entire systems that had once ignored humans began to fear them. Some governments sent fleets to investigate. Some alien civilizations debated launching preemptive strikes. And pirates? They plotted revenge, eager to reclaim what they had failed to destroy. Looks like we're famous, Marcus said one evening as he floated through the bridge, inspecting the weapon systems. I just wanted to fix a ship, not start a galactic panic. The AI replied quietly. Human attention. Gross threat perception. Rises, yeah, Marcus said, leaning back. We'll deal with them one at a time. Can't fix the whole galaxy at once. Marcus knew preparation was key. He began upgrading the ship even further. He scavenged materials from abandoned stations, rewired the weapons systems to accept human input, and optimized the engines for speed and endurance. Your shields need reinforcement, he said one morning. We can't rely on luck forever. Shields? Recalibrating, the AI said, almost as if it were pleased to be corrected. Marcus smiled. See? You're learning faster than most humans I know. Even as he worked, he noticed subtle changes in the AI. The ship began initiating minor repairs on its own, adjusting power flow, and even predicting the best routes for engine efficiency. It was learning from him and for him, forming a bond that went beyond mechanic and machine. But the galaxy was closing in. One night, sensors picked up a fleet of alien warships entering the system. These were not pirates. They were military-grade vessels, sleek and heavily armed. They transmitted a single message: stand down. The Eidolon is not permitted to exist. Surrender or be destroyed. Marcus frowned, running his hand over the console. Looks like the galaxy isn't very polite. Partner, what do you think? The AI's response was steady. Weapons. Ready, shields. Stable, strategy. Optional. Decision. Yours, Marcus laughed softly. Optional, huh? That's just the kind of freedom I like. Okay, let's make them regret underestimating us. The battle plan was unconventional. Marcus knew the ship could not survive a head-on fight against a fleet of trained alien soldiers. Instead, he used speed, unpredictability, and the Eidolon's unique design to his advantage. They navigated through asteroid fields, using debris for cover. They employed sudden bursts of acceleration to confuse sensors. Marcus learned to anticipate enemy maneuvers, guiding the AI to counter every attack. When they finally struck, it was with precision. Energy bolts from the Eidolon tore through the lead enemy ship, disabling it without destroying it entirely. The remaining vessels hesitated, unsure of the humans' tactics. You see that? Marcus said. You see how easy it is when you're creative? The AI's lights pulsed. Tactics. Unconventional. Success. Confirmed. The battle raged through the night. Several enemy ships attempted flanking maneuvers, but Marcus and the Eidolon stayed ahead. Each time, the ship adapted faster than the aliens expected. Marcus had turned improvisation into an advantage, and the ship responded like a living entity, combining instinct with human strategy. By dawn, the alien fleet retreated, leaving the Eidolon victorious. The once rejected warship had become a force the galaxy had never anticipated. Marcus stood on the bridge, gazing at the stars. We did it, he whispered. We actually did it, the AI spoke softly. Recognition. Achieved. Threat. Neutralized. Partnership. Confirmed. Marcus smiled faintly. Yeah, partner. We're unstoppable when we work together. The victory was bittersweet. Marcus knew that word of this battle would spread quickly. He was no longer a simple mechanic on a scrapyard station. The Eidolon was now a legend in the making, a symbol of human ingenuity and persistence. Across the galaxy, some celebrated. Some feared. Many began preparing for the next encounter, convinced that Marcus Hale and the Eidolon were a new kind of threat, one that could not be predicted or controlled. Back on the ship, Marcus continued repairs, strengthened shields and optimized engines. He worked tirelessly, knowing that the battles ahead would only get tougher. And yet, for the first time, he felt hope. The Eidolon was no longer broken. Together, human and machine were ready to face whatever the galaxy threw at them. As Marcus floated through the dimly lit corridors, he whispered to the ship, "We're just getting started, partner." The galaxy doesn't know what's coming. The AI's hum responded like a heartbeat, and somewhere in the distance, fleets began to move, preparing for the day they would confront the human and his mightiest ship. The Eidolon glided silently through the void, its hull gleaming under distant starlight. Marcus Hale sat on the bridge, fingers resting lightly on the controls, his mind racing through the possibilities ahead. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Every major faction that had once ignored humans now watched him with wary eyes, plotting, planning, and preparing. But Marcus was ready. He had spent months bringing the Eidolon from a discarded relic to a machine that lived and breathed in sync with him. Every repaired engine, every rewired console, every modified weapon system had been a step toward this moment. "You ready, partner?" he asked softly. The ship's AI responded with a hum that vibrated through the floor. "Prepared." "Anticipation." "Optimal," Marcus smiled. "Good. Let's show them what humans can do." The first sign of the approaching fleets came hours later. Sensor arrays picked up dozens of alien warships, their designs sleek, lethal, and highly organized. Unlike the pirates Marcus had faced before, these fleets were disciplined. They moved as one, their tactics refined through decades of experience. "Looks like the galaxy wants a proper fight," Marcus muttered. "No half measures this time." The AI's lights flickered in acknowledgement. "Probability. Low survival. Depends on human strategy." Marcus leaned over the console. "Then we'll rely on what we've got. Brains, guts, and stubbornness." The first clash was violent. Alien warships unleashed volleys of energy and plasma, aiming to overwhelm the Eidolon before it could respond. Marcus adjusted power to the shields and rerouted energy to the engines. The ship shuddered under the strain but held firm. "Keep your distance," Marcus instructed the AI. "Use the asteroid field ahead for cover. If they expect a straight fight, we'll give them something they didn't plan for." The AI responded instantly, rerouting thrusters, adjusting weapon systems, and scanning enemy formations. Marcus marveled at how seamlessly they worked together now. This was no longer a human fighting a machine. It was a partnership, an instinctive coordination born from months of trust and trial. They dove into the asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks and debris. Enemy sensors struggled to track the Eidolon while Marcus guided the ship through narrow paths with daring precision. Each movement drew energy from the engines, sending vibrations that felt almost alive through the hull. "Nice, partner," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the tension. "Now let's hit them where it hurts." The Eidolon's weapons hummed to life. Turrets rotated with pinpoint accuracy, firing beams of concentrated energy. The leading alien cruisers erupted in controlled explosions, scattering debris across the void. The remaining ships hesitated, unprepared for the humans' unorthodox tactics. The battle raged for hours. Fleets that were once considered unstoppable were forced to retreat and regroup. Marcus improvised constantly, using debris, gravitational fields, and sudden bursts of acceleration to outmaneuver his opponents. The AI adapted in real time, predicting enemy movements and optimizing systems faster than any human could. "You're getting faster," Marcus remarked as the ship twisted through a narrow canyon of asteroids. "I like it. Makes my job easier." "Efficiency, improving," the AI replied. "Trust, maximal." As the first wave of enemy fleets retreated, Marcus realized the galaxy had changed. The Eidolon was no longer a forgotten warship, it was a symbol. Across distant worlds, messages spread of a human who had taken a broken relic and turned it into a force that could not be ignored. Some called him reckless. Some called him a hero. Others whispered in fear. The human has awakened the Eidolon, they said. No fleet can stand against them. Marcus did not dwell on the whispers. He focused on preparation. Over the next few days, he strengthened the Eidolon's shields, upgraded its weapons with scavenged alien tech, and optimized its engines for maximum speed and maneuverability. Every modification made the ship more than a vessel. It became a living fortress, a machine that responded instinctively to its pilot's commands. Then came the ultimatum. A coalition of alien empires sent a fleet far larger and more advanced than anything Marcus had faced before. Thousands of ships moved as one, their message clear. Surrender the Eidolon or face annihilation. Marcus studied the approaching armada, feeling the weight of responsibility. The scrap bay mechanic from Vela Prime had become the most significant target in the galaxy. Every life in that fleet believed that taking the Eidolon would prove their supremacy. He exhaled and rested his hands on the controls. Partner, looks like it's now or never. The AI's hum vibrated through the bridge. Prepared. Strategy, optional. Decision, human. Marcus chuckled. Optional, huh? Just the way I like it. The battle began in earnest. Unlike previous encounters, Marcus could not rely on stealth or trickery alone. He had to combine everything he had learned: speed, unorthodox tactics, precision targeting, and most importantly, his understanding of the Eidolon itself. He led the ship in sudden dives, weaving through the enemy formation, drawing fire toward weaker sectors while avoiding concentrated volleys. The Eidolon's turrets fired with deadly accuracy, hitting propulsion systems and energy cores of multiple enemy ships simultaneously. See that? Marcus said, voice steady over the comms. Brains over brawn. The AI responded. Efficiency. Confirmed. Enemy. Disoriented. By midday, the fleet's formation had broken. Marcus pushed further, using gravitational fields from nearby planets to slingshot the Eidolon into perfect firing positions. Every strike was precise. Every maneuver calculated. Hours passed in unrelenting combat. The Eidolon absorbed damage but adapted with every hit. Marcus rerouted power to shields, engines, and weapons in real time. He pushed the ship to its limits, testing the AI's growing adaptability and his own reflexes. For the first time, the human mechanic felt what it meant to command a living warship. Every pulse of energy through the hull felt like a heartbeat. Every vibration, every hum of the engines was a dialogue between man and machine. You're amazing, Marcus whispered. We've come so far together. The AI's voice was clear, almost proud. Recognition, achieved. Trust, absolute. Partnership, complete. By nightfall, the alien armada had been forced to retreat. The Eidolon, though battered, remained unbroken. The warship that had been abandoned and rejected by all other species now stood as a symbol of unmatched ingenuity and strength. Marcus sat on the bridge, watching the stars. The galaxy was quiet for the first time in days. You know, he said softly. We did it. We actually did it, the AI responded, its hum steady and calm. Survival. Confirmed. Superiority. Established. Human. Exceptional. Marcus smiled faintly. Partner, we're unstoppable. The aftermath spread quickly. Across star systems, the human mechanic and his ship became legends. Governments debated treaties. Pirate lords reconsidered alliances. Scientists marveled at the Eidolon's hybrid of human improvisation and ancient alien engineering. Marcus continued to patrol the outer systems, repairing and upgrading the ship as needed. Every action reinforced the bond he shared with the Eidolon. Together, they were more than man and machine. They were a force that could not be controlled. And though the galaxy watched with fear and awe, Marcus only cared about one thing: keeping the ship alive, learning from it, and pushing its potential further than anyone thought possible. Months later, Marcus stood on the bridge looking out at the endless stars. His hands rested lightly on the console and the hum of the Eidolon pulsed beneath him like a living companion. You know, he said, they'll never forget us. Not now, not ever. The AI's lights glowed warmly. Legacies ensured, human. Revered. Marcus laughed softly. Revered, huh? That's fine by me. But let's keep it simple. Just you and me, partner. That's enough. The Eidolon's engines thrummed in agreement. Together they drifted through the void, the galaxy vast and alive around them. The ship that had been abandoned, rejected and forgotten had become the mightiest in the stars. Not because of alien design alone, but because of human ingenuity, persistence, and partnership. And Marcus Hale, the mechanic who no one believed in, had proven that humanity could rise to the challenge, adapt and conquer not through aggression, but through creativity, determination, and trust in themselves. The galaxy would remember the name of the human and his ship. Legends would be told for centuries, and somewhere deep within the ship the AI whispered once more, "Together. Unstoppable." Marcus grinned, placing his hand on the console. "Yeah, partner, unstoppable."